right, so today we're going to talk about types of pest control. So there's a lot of different ways you can go about controlling these pests. Remember we talked about mechanical ways. There's cultural, and cultural pest control is basically changing the environment and the culture around your crops in order to make it inhospitable for pests. So pests aren't even going to come near it. Um, so we have crop rotation. So that eliminates the pest food source. So, like if the pests are really feeding on corn, and then you change to soybeans the next year, you're going to eliminate that environment for that pest. Intercropping. So that's where you do two different crops in the same plot. So it can be used different ways. One crop you may be planting to serve as an insecticide, and the other, or one of them, you may be planting as like a sacrificial crop. So maybe you're planting a cheap corn variety and you're hoping all the pests will go to that one and leave your other crop alone. Proper care of the land. So that's, eliminating standing water for mosquitoes to breed, making sure you're um, weeding your garden properly. That's going to eliminate some pests. Breeding for host resistance is sometimes considered a form of culture control. That means a naturally resistant plant variety could be an option. So these are some of the genetically modified plants that they may put in, and these are plants that are designed to withstand these pests. So they're typically environmentally friendly, and they don't really harm other animals, plants, or water supplies. So they're a great method to use. But they're preventative. So if you've already got pests going on, it's a little bit too late to start these cultural methods. So you need to start them from the beginning. Then there's biological pest control. So that's really where you're using the pest's natural enemies to control them. So remember we talked about like ladybugs. Remember how I said ladybugs like to eat aphids. So that's a biological way of control, because ladybugs can eat the aphids, and they will are a natural way to get rid of those besides using pesticide or insecticide. So parasites that attack the particular organism, microorganisms that attack or damage the particular organism, or insects that eat other insects. So that's all biological pest control, using other insects basically to do the work for you. So the release of parasite, pathogen, or predator is called augmentation. Conservation is preservation of natural enemies already in the element. Classical biological controls involve working to increase national populations. So praying mantises are really good predator species that will eat pests. Then you have the chemical option. This is one of the most common ones. It can be a little bit damaging, so it needs to be used with caution. Herbicides are chemical products designed to kill unwanted plants. Insecticides are chemical products designed to kill insects. Insecticides were commonly used during the 1960s and 70s, but today they're usually the final step. We want to keep it as the last step because we don't want to implement all these chemicals we've learned. So some pesticide dangers, we want to try to limit it because they can pose risk to human health. You may have heard of DDT. It was really common used pesticide in the 20th century, but it's caused cancer, health effects, birth defects, infertility. It was banned in 2001. Still used in a limited capacity in countries battling malaria and mosquito-borne disease. For many years, it was used a lot for insect problems. However, it became apparent that it was not very ideal and it was causing these problems. Not all pesticides are this bad. The ones that are on the market, they have to go through extensive testing, and they're used with extensive laws. But try to make it your last resort. So insecticides are made up of toxicants, which are basically poisons, and adjuvants, which are ingredients to improve the performance, effectiveness, or safety of those poisons. So this combined mixture is called formulations. So a lot of people use them in their home, like cockroaches, ant bait, those sorts of things, bug bombs. So there are some that are made for the home, but you do need to follow the instructions when it comes. Like if you set up off a bug bomb, you're not supposed to enter the house for like 12 hours. So most insecticides are absorbed through their exoskeleton of the insect. Systemic insecticides are absorbed into plant tissues through the roots. When the insect eats that plant, then it dies. So that's kind of the difference. Other types are on contact, so others are gaseous and inhaled in an enclosed space. Just be aware that chemical is the last option. There are all these other options, biological, mechanical, cultural, that you could use first.